Welcome to Stylo Stories. I'm here to help you relax today. I know many of you use these videos to fall asleep, so before you drift off, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, let us know in the comments the time and country you're watching from. Case 1. When a particular crime seemingly defies logic, it's inevitable that otherworldly explanations come into play. One such case is that of Zygmunt Adamski, who was a 56-year-old miner and resident of Tingley in West Yorkshire. Adamski disappeared on June 6, 1980, after leaving home on a shopping trip. His wife was concerned when he didn't return as expected, particularly since the couple had planned to attend a wedding the following day. 5 days later, at 3:45 in the afternoon, Adamski was found on top of a 12-foot-high pile of coal in a yard 20 miles from his home in the Pennine Hills around Todmorden. The body was discovered by Trevor Parker, the son of the owner of the coal yard, which hadn't been accessed since 11 o'clock that morning. The condition of Adamski's body flummoxed authorities, including Alan Godfrey, the officer who first arrived at the scene. Adamski was wearing a suit, but his shirt, watch, and wallet were missing. Despite his disheveled appearance, his skin was perfectly clean, with no coal dust, but there appeared to be burns on Adamski's neck, shoulders, and head. Strangely, they were covered in an ointment that couldn't be identified by forensic scientists. Godfrey also reported that Adamski's eyes were flung wide open, his face frozen in fear. Coroner James Turnbull determined that Adamski had died from a heart attack, but he couldn't explain why he was at the coal yard. No family members or friends had information about his previous whereabouts. Turnbull also observed that Zygmunt's facial hair showed a single day of growth. The question of where he was before he died and what led to his death just could not be answered, Turnbull told the BBC. Additional theories arose, including that Adamski had been abducted by aliens. It wasn't necessarily so far-fetched, as the area where his body was discovered was alleged to be a hotspot of UFO activity. In fact, Officer Alan Godfrey would later report having a UFO encounter himself, a mile from where Adamski was found. Godfrey claimed that there was a 15-minute gap in his memory and that his life was forever altered following the experience. "I wish I'd never seen the UFO, particularly because of the effects on my children," Godfrey recounted. Zygmunt's case largely fizzled out for 2 decades, but then new details emerged concerning interpersonal conflicts in his life at the time of his death. The Adamskis had been sheltering a family member who had taken out a restraining order on her husband. Could it be that the husband had kidnapped Zygmunt, and the burn marks were signs of the torture he endured while being held captive? While intriguing, this theory has yet to be proven. Though skeptics believe that the sightings in the Pennines are simply lights from planes or other human-made sources, the location of Zygmunt's body on a towering pile of coal, seemingly dropped from the heavens, continues to fuel speculation. In 2025, journalist Neil Beecham told Yorkshire Live that Mr. Adamski's mysterious disappearance 37 years ago has always troubled me and is a topic of conversation for the tight-knit community of Tingley, even to this day. Case 2. In Belfast, on the evening of June 21, 2020, 14-year-old Noah Donahoe hopped on his bike with a backpack containing books and a laptop with the intention to meet friends in a park. He never arrived at his destination. When Noah failed to return home, his mother, Fiona, reported him missing to the police. Noah was known to be an intelligent, athletic, and musically talented boy. His relationship with Fiona was untroubled, while his father, an immigrant from Senegal who had relocated to the United States, spoke frequently to Noah. Reportedly, there was also nothing unusual about Noah's behavior leading up to his disappearance. But as CCTV footage and witness accounts would attest, his behavior after leaving home was anything but typical. Shortly after setting off that evening, Noah is seen cycling along Royal Avenue, a popular shopping district. As Noah nears the end of the avenue, he's captured again. This time, oddly, he isn't wearing his backpack. He then appears to steer off the path. The next time he appears, he is riding naked and without his helmet through a housing development 3 miles from his park destination. He then dismounts his bike and walks away behind one of the houses. In the hours and days after Noah was reported missing, witnesses came forward, including a bus driver who had seen him fall off his bike. Although the driver got out of the bus to help him, Noah cycled on. 2 additional witnesses told police that they saw him riding nude in the housing development, though they did not see him remove his clothing. Noah's clothes and cell phone were eventually recovered along his biking route. On the 3rd day of the search, a pawn shop manager called police to report that a man named Darryl Paul, a local known to authorities for past robbery offenses, had tried to pawn Noah's laptop. Police found Noah's backpack and books at Paul's home and arrested him, but Paul denied any involvement in Noah's disappearance, saying he simply discovered the backpack near a building on the University of Ulster campus. Paul was later located on CCTV in a distant part of the city around the time of Noah's disappearance and was cleared. When area resident Karen Crooks reported finding Noah's bicycle in her driveway, search parties zeroed in on the area behind her home. The results of that search were devastating. Police found Noah's body lying 1,000 meters into a narrow storm drain system. The location was a little over half a mile from home, but nowhere near the park he'd planned to visit. The cause of Noah's death was determined to be drowning, but police were left with no concrete leads concerning why he was at the housing development, or more importantly, how he drowned. Another theory took root. Leading up to his fateful bike ride, Noah had been fascinated by controversial Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson, who had created a series of podcasts called the Biblical Series, which discussed applying the lessons of the book of Genesis to modern life. The day of his death, he sent a message to an Instagram fan page for Peterson. That message has not been recovered. Noah's internet history also showed searches for biblical terms and about ways to ward off Satan. Could Noah have been planning to meet with someone else he'd been corresponding with online, perhaps a fellow Peterson fan? Superintendent Muir Clark of the Police Service of Northern Ireland called Noah's case one of the most unusual missing persons enquiries that I have dealt with. Nevertheless, Clark denied that there was foul play, maintaining that Noah's death likely resulted from a concussion from falling off his bike, which led to disorientation. Another theory is that Noah died by suicide due to depression, possibly stemming from questioning aspects of his sexuality and the negative messaging he was encountering online. For many, including Noah's mother, Fiona, suggestions that Noah put himself in that drain system, whether to explore or to end his own life, are patently ridiculous. Instead, some have theorized that Noah, who was mixed race and Catholic, in a community that was largely white, loyalist, and Protestant, was the victim of a hate crime. Suggestions of a police cover-up have also been raised. The case of the boy who set out on a bike ride only to be discovered in a storm drain is among the saddest in UK history. But unlike many unsolved deaths, this case has the benefit of recency and the strong potential for new clues to emerge.
Case 3. The Mysterious Mr. Kipper and the Case of Susie Lampluff. Few experiences can match the trauma of learning that a missing loved one's body has been located. But what about never finding a body at all? The case of London-based victim Susie Lampluff is one of the most oft Googled in the UK. The public's enduring investment in her case stems in part from the uncertainty of Lampluff's whereabouts. It also vexes the public because the case has come tantalizingly close to being solved, only for answers to again and again slip from reach. In July of 1986, the 25-year-old real estate agent set out to show a property in Fulham, London. She never returned to her office. When Lampluff's co-workers reported her missing, police visited her flat, finding nothing to indicate that anything suspicious had taken place. Lampluff had shared that she was going to meet a Mr. Kipper, though there were subsequently no records found for this individual. Authorities soon learned that the company car Lampluff drove had been found unlocked and haphazardly parked. The positioning of the seat suggested that someone taller than Lampluff had been driving. A flurry of witnesses came forward. Before she went missing, Lampluff had left personal items behind at a pub and planned to pick them up the evening of her disappearance. The owner reported receiving a phone call from someone named Sarah asking him to have Lampluff call her. Shortly after, he claimed he received a call from a police officer also asking for Lampluff, but this was prior to the start of the investigation. Some reported seeing Lampluff arguing with a man in a dark BMW. Others said they spotted Lampluff with a man who was holding a bottle of champagne. Roses had also been delivered to the office by an unknown man days prior to her disappearance. Despite the number of leads, no arrests were made. 6 months into the investigation, a tip came in about an abandoned BMW that was registered to a man who would sometimes go by a similar name, Mr. Kipper. However, he had been in Belgium at the time and was cleared. Shortly after, a police sketch based on witness accounts led to another compelling suspect. The image strongly resembled Birmingham-born John Kanan, who had been previously convicted for beating his girlfriend and raping another woman. He was on work release at the time of Lampluff's murder, but had more recently been arrested and convicted for murdering 29-year-old Shirley Banks. He also had attempted to abduct other women leading up to Banks's murder, had showed up unexpectedly at a house viewing only to leave once he saw a man was present with the female agent, drove a dark BMW, and his nickname in prison had been Kipper. Case closed, right? Astonishingly, police insisted there still wasn't enough evidence to charge Kanan. At least Kanan was in a place where he couldn't hurt anyone else. Or could he?
Case 4. The Lindbergh Kidnapping Case and Agatha Christie's Orient Express. You may have seen Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, but did you know that Christie had a penchant for taking true crime stories and turning them into fiction? She did so any number of times, but perhaps in no other case as notably as in the story of a child murderer himself murdered on the luxurious transcontinental railroad train. In fact, she seems to have been inspired by one of the most infamous true crime stories of its era, the Lindbergh kidnapping case. With the possible exception of the Leopold and Loeb case, no crime of the first half of the 20th century garnered more public attention than the kidnapping of the 20-month-old son of famed aviator Charles Lindbergh and his wife Anne Morrow Lindbergh. On the evening of March 1, 1932, little Charles Jr. was abducted from his crib in the Lindbergh home in Hopewell, New Jersey. The kidnapping set off a massive manhunt and a series of ransom negotiations, ultimately leading to one of the most sensational trials of the century. The initial discovery of the child's absence was accompanied by a ransom note left on the windowsill of the nursery.
The note demanded a $50,000 payment for Charles Jr.'s safe return and was the first of a series of communications between the kidnapper and the Lindbergh family through intermediaries. Despite the family's compliance with the demands, the young boy's body was discovered on May 12th in woods less than 5 miles from the Lindbergh home. Wounds on his body made clear his death was a homicide. The investigation of the crime led to the arrest of Bruno Richard Hauptmann, a German immigrant, in 1934 when ransom money was found in his possession. He was charged, tried, and ultimately convicted of kidnapping and murder. The trial was an international media sensation, raising numerous questions about evidence handling, witness credibility, and judicial fairness. Hauptmann was steadfast in maintaining his innocence right up to his execution in 1936. Naturally, at the time of its publication in 1934, a typical reader of Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express might have put two and two together to connect details of the book with the Lindbergh kidnapping case. In both the true and fictional stories, innocent children are kidnapped and murdered. In both, the perpetrators of the heinous crime are immigrants, and in both, the public takes a keen interest in the shocking crimes. Christie uses her implicit nod to the infamous true crime story as an opportunity to explore deeper themes of justice, morality, and revenge, echoing the public's complex reactions to the real-life crime and its aftermath. The Lindbergh kidnapping case and its cultural aftermath highlight the deep societal impact of high-profile crimes. They not only shape legal practices and policies, but they can also inspire art, literature, film, and ongoing public discourse on the perennial themes of justice and morality. Such cases are a testament to the complexities of human nature, the intricacies of legal systems, and the enduring power of storytelling in attempts to make sense of tragedy.
Case 6. On the afternoon of November 24, 1971, a nondescript man calling himself Dan Cooper approached the counter of Northwest Orient Airlines in Portland, Oregon. He used cash to buy a one-way ticket on Flight 305, bound for Seattle, Washington. Thus began one of the great unsolved mysteries in FBI history. Cooper was a quiet man who appeared to be in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit with a black tie and white shirt. He ordered a drink, bourbon and soda, while the flight was waiting to take off. A short time after 3 p.m., he handed the stewardess a note indicating that he had a bomb in his briefcase and wanted her to sit with him. The stunned stewardess did as she was told. Opening a cheap attaché case, Cooper showed her a glimpse of a mass of wires and red-colored sticks and demanded that she write down what he told her. Soon she was walking a new note to the captain of the plane that demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. When the flight landed in Seattle, the hijacker exchanged the flight's 36 passengers for the money and parachutes. Cooper kept several crew members, and the plane took off again, ordered to set a course for Mexico City. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, a little after 8 p.m., the hijacker did the incredible. He jumped out of the back of the plane with a parachute and the ransom money. The pilots landed safely, but Cooper had disappeared into the night, and his ultimate fate remains a mystery to this day. The FBI learned of the crime in flight and immediately opened an extensive investigation that lasted many years. Calling it NORJAC for Northwest Hijacking, we interviewed hundreds of people, tracked leads across the nation, and scoured the aircraft for evidence. By the 5-year anniversary of the hijacking, we'd considered more than 800 suspects and eliminated all but 22 from consideration. One person from our list, Richard Floyd McCoy, is still a favorite suspect among many. We tracked down and arrested McCoy for a similar airplane hijacking and escape by parachute less than 5 months after Cooper's flight. But McCoy was later ruled out because he didn't match the nearly identical physical descriptions of Cooper provided by 2 flight attendants, and for other reasons. Perhaps Cooper didn't survive his jump from the plane. After all, the parachute he used couldn't be steered, his clothing and footwear were unsuitable for a rough landing, and he had jumped into a wooded area at night, a dangerous proposition for a seasoned pro, which evidence suggests Cooper was not. This theory was given an added boost in 1980 when a young boy found a rotting package full of $20 bills, $5,800 in all, that matched the ransom money serial numbers. Where did DB come from? It was apparently a myth created by the press. We did question a man with the initials DB, but he wasn't the hijacker. The daring hijack and disappearance remain an intriguing mystery for law enforcement and amateur sleuths alike.